Good morning. My name's Felix, and I'm President of Europe for Verifone. And today we actually have an exciting guest, Stacey Shulman, who is a CIO and innovation expert, leading innovation and retail solutions division at Intel. Now, what's exciting about today's topic is we're talking about women in tech. So it's really a subject that is obviously close to our hearts, and one that we want to just have a conversation around what is it like, what does it take, and what have we learned in this whole journey in the tech world, but also reflecting on what the future holds in technology, retail, and innovation. So I'm really excited. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so tell me about your journey. I mean, we were just chatting earlier. You've gone from the buy side to the sell side, right? So you went from being in a retailer. Levi Strauss is a great brand, and now you're going to another great brand called Intel. So what's that like, first of all?
Yeah, so I actually I went from the buy side to the sell side to the buy side to the sell side. So I started out many years ago as a buyer for Walmart, then went back and did commercial software products for retailers for about 13 years, and then jumped over to be a CIO for an apparel brand, and then moved over to Levi Strauss to do global technology, and then came over to Intel to be the Chief Innovation Officer for the retail group.
That's an amazing journey. I mean, how does one think about those changes? And as a woman making those changes, was that hard? I mean, we talked a little bit about how important support is in that.
Yeah. I would say is anybody making those changes, it's hard, right? I mean, those types of changes is not gender specific, but it definitely requires good partnership and good family support to continue pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, and making sure that you never get complacent in where you're at. And so that was the hard part, and you got to be willing to accept change in all flavors, and which is probably why I'm on the innovation side, right? I love change. Yeah. It's exciting to me. It's not scary.
Well, I think they always talk about women being able to juggle and balance multiple things. Is that a myth, or how have you handled all this change? Because I think there's more and more evidence that being able to handle change and embrace it versus run away for it is a core skill, and especially in today's world in tech.
Yeah. I've never thought about how I juggled. I think you just do. I mean, you just do it out of necessity, and you keep running. And again, you have good support systems, and you start setting really good expectation, not only with the people, your professional life, but in your personal life, and setting those expectations. So when you're with your family, you're wholly with your family. You're present with your family, and when you're working, you're fully working.
iPads down, iPhones down.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And what about the women in your field? Do you see a big difference between the retail world and the pure tech world where you are now? And what's your observation?
Well, there's a lot more women executives in the retail world. I mean, that's everywhere. In the tech world, it's sparse. And we need to improve that. We need more diversity in the tech world. We need, and I'm not saying just men and women diversity, women and men. We also need just diversity of thought. We need more people thinking differently about the same problem, and so that's diversity of personality types. That's diversity of how you tackle a problem, and so diversity is, at Intel, is a really important topic for us. And with that, I think part of that diversity challenge is also obviously having more women in executive positions, and more women making some of these decisions as part of that diverse mix.
Yeah, and do you see women now in technology having unique opportunities?
That's tough. I think that we have the same opportunity as everybody else, and I think that what's unique is that we're preparing women better. I think earlier on in their career, it was. I mean, when I was in college, I was told that tech careers weren't for women. And we don't tell women this anymore in college, so we're preparing them better. We're giving them more confidence earlier in their, and so and I think that we're starting to do that throughout the work history for somebody. As they're in the job, they're starting to get more positive role models in their life. They're starting to get more affirmation that this is not outside of your reach. This is something you can do as a woman, or somebody who hasn't been privileged, or an underrepresented minority. So I think that we're starting to get, I won't say more opportunity, I'll say we're getting more confidence towards the opportunity.
So what's your prediction for the next 5-10 years? Are you going to see more women in tech, and in what roles? You sound quite optimistic.
Yeah. Oh, I am. I think we will see more women in tech. We're seeing it in the universities. We're not at the numbers, though. We're not graduating enough women still out of our universities in tech roles. That number is still way too low, and so we have a lot of room to move into getting more women involved in STEM programs, more women involved in pure innovation, more women involved in engineering. So we need to do more. However, it is growing, and I am seeing more, and I'm not seeing as many obstacles as we used to see in that space.
And what do you think we should do to help that? To get more women in STEM, to get more women in engineering? Are there specific things we as individuals or as companies should do?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to start getting involved in these programs way younger. And it's not just at the universities, because at the university some of these mostly picked their course. I say mostly because most of us didn't end up in our major. But yeah, I mean, we've mostly charted our path and where we want to go, and so we need to start getting them into these engineering programs much earlier, and having, I would say young girls playing with toys that are engineering based, and understanding how exciting an engineering career can be. So I do think that, we need to get them earlier. We need to start inspiring them, and we need to start understanding and showing and demonstrating good role models there.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a great opportunity as well. And, there's a story that girls are very good in math until 4th grade. And then all of a sudden, they somehow become dumb in math because they're now competing with boys and they care about what boys think. So it's like very, very strange and scary to me. But I think that's something that we have to really encourage, is the role model stuff. Is Intel doing anything specific in terms of women in tech?
We do a lot with empowering both women and underrepresented minorities, and whether it's through university programs or STEM programs in elementary schools, programs around mentoring women, and even within the company. If you're a woman in the company, there's lots of resources for women in the business, and there's lots of resources for underrepresented groups in the company, and then in general, it's just a great culture of mentoring throughout for all people to improve, and everyone has an opportunity to improve what they're doing and where they want to go. But there are special focal programs for women so that we can network more and support each other more.
Yeah, we started one at Verifone, and I have to say it's been very personally gratifying, but also exciting to see how women have really stepped up and really embraced the opportunity to get better. I guess the last question I would have is, if you were to give advice to your younger self, right, 10 years ago, or to young women now, what are the few things that you would say to them?
Oh yeah, I like this. One, lead with confidence. That's one. Don't apologize for being who you are, and be authentically who you are, but be the best person, be the best version of yourself, and don't apologize when you make tough decisions. Don't apologize for being assertive. And the other thing I would say is start and don't apologize. Start taking credit for your own work, and don't apologize for that either. And I think too many women are happy to give credit to somebody else because we're a team player, and that's not good for us. we need to start taking credit for our work, and we need to be okay with that. And then I would also say that we need to start being more supportive. The queen bees, the women who are happy to put somebody else down because they think that there's there only so many of us can be around at the top, that has to stop too. We need to be way more supportive of one another and trying to build each other up. That would be the advice I would give.
Well, we're 50% of the population. We should be 50% of the CEOs, so that's my advice too. Anyway, but lots of fun. Great to see you, and thank you so much for joining us today and inspiring so many of the people and listeners that will hear this podcast.
Of course, thank you for having me.